That signed this green thing, so, yeah.
Pause.
And make sure nobody yells at them. Well, I think their job is to communicate with the person.
Yeah.
Who submitted it.
Yeah.
And
That's easier.
Okay.
anyway,
And since you submitted it,
Recording.
yeah.
recording. Okay, be careful what you say now.
Guess I won't be grading
I hear
papers.
little
I'll put
ones.
them away.
I love it.
Hello.
How are you? I suspected the kids came.
Beautiful thing.
Good thing. Okay, why don't we get started? We'll call this meeting to order. First order of business is to approve minutes of, January 15th. Need a motion?
Second.
Was there any corrections that you had?
Beauteous.
Well, yeah,
Very good.
all in favor?
Hi.
Anyone opposed? Okay, we're gonna move forward to swear in our newest police sergeant, so Adam, why don't you come on in?
You have an
A
entourage.
few other people came with you. Uh-oh,
Lovely.
hi gang. You other people here? Who else is coming? Hey, Josh. Uh-oh. They allow you out in your sling?
What's that? They do,
Oh, okay.
sometimes.
Well, I'd like to introduce our newest police sergeant, Adam Clark. He, the board decided with the help of the chief and interview committee that Adam was the guy, the person. I appreciate you stepping up and showing your interest in taking some leadership here, and Sally's gonna swear you in. This will become effective on March 2nd. Did you want to have something to say since you're on that? I would expect you to have something.
Absolutely. So I'm thrilled, Adam, that you are taking on this leadership position. His service to Canton PD, and his leadership in the military, has proven to be, a great asset to us and the team. So, welcome and congratulations. We're excited for you to take this on.
Thank you very much.
Ready?
Ready? I bet you,
Am I gonna get?
and I bet you're gonna want to take a picture.
Yeah. I'm just gonna get.
I don't wanna do
I'm sorry.
I am Black Solomon.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States
For the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of sergeant.
and I'll faithfully discharge the duties of sergeant.
No, wrong pen.
You're good.
Can you read it?
No.
He does that on purpose. And thank you.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Can I get that in? Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
One more.
Chief. Yep.
Congratulations, thank you very much.
Thank you. Perfect.
All right.
Your family?
Everybody good?
One with the family, come on.
I love
What
all
do you
the
think,
support
gang?
from
Yeah.
the different agencies too.
Mom too.
Yes.
Do you want a picture? Here, do you want me to take a picture with your phone?
Oh, that'd be great, sure.
Get out of the way.
Take orders.
She's smiling.
Yep.
Oh, beautiful. I'm specifically.
You're fine. You're.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's you too, right? Isn't that you too? Dosey do.
Just trying to stay out of the way here.
Sorry, I'm over your head again.
No, you're fine. I was trying to.
Okay. I got that. Do you want the other guys?
Sure, real quick.
Sure, real quick.
Once in a lifetime shot.
Our deputies. My apologies.
Yes.
We appreciate the deputies being here too.
Oh my, you're gonna have to, it's gonna have to, yeah. Yeah, somebody, yeah,
Star.
there we go.
Alright, chief, I'm gonna, yeah, there we go. Perfect. 1, 2, 3. All right, I think I got ya. We're good.
Good job.
Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Congratulations.
Ashley, I have your cell number.
Yes.
I'll send them to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay,
Congrats, Sergeant.
thank you very much. See ya.
So that's why you're
I was like,
You know what's happening?
I know why she's.
What do I?
The human
I'll be
tornado.
calling back later.
Oh.
Okay.
Alright.
Let's see, where were we? That's done. Department head reports. Let's see, who's up first? Oh, the historian. Well, it's just how it falls. I'd like to introduce the new town and village historian, Casey Dennis.
Hello.
Welcome,
Um,
welcome.
Nice to meet everybody.
He, his report was sent to you. Is there anything you would like to add to your report? Anything interesting going on down there?
I've already gotten some visitors. We just opened to the public full-time, well, not full-time, but the office hours officially opened last week. So, just so everybody knows, they are Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. and Thursday from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. So we're gonna try an evening once a week
Awesome.
to see if people want to utilize the space then. And then I'll have like 4 extra hours to meet with people by appointment. So if you want to come in and talk one-on-one, we can do that as well.
Awesome.
We've already had a few people stop in, some requests for research. So I'm just using
Nice.
that as an opportunity to learn more about what we have in the office and the history of Canton. Other than that, it's mostly just getting to know the space in the town. That's it.
Well,
Okay.
welcome. Have fun.
Yeah.
Any questions for Casey? Well, thank you.
Thank you.
It's kind of how, I don't know what they do when you came to the town meeting, but you know, this is kind of how it goes, so.
Had a cake for him.
Huh?
Town had a cake for him.
They had a cake for him.
It's like parade.
Well, I guess that's. The next thing was, Dan Moyer and, his report is there. Recreation. How's Megan? One of our Megans.
Yeah. We actually have 4 on staff, right?
We're working on it.
Pretty soon, everybody's.
I don't really have anything else to add to my report. As of, obviously everybody knows we have a lot of snow right now, Benton River. Yeah,
No.
Benton River is not plowed right now because we need some bigger equipment to move the snowbanks, so there's no place to put snow.
Details.
Well, let's just say I got rescued out of a snowbank in the truck, so, but yeah, other than that, we're just, it's last month of ice season, so it's a lot of that grind and getting ready for another season, so
How has the usage been this year?
I wouldn't it's been pretty good. I have noticed this week being break, it's a lot slower than normal. I'm just thinking everybody's up to Titus with the fresh powder, but it's pretty quiet.
Some people are
I-
like south too.
I wonder if they're in Florida.
No, but I'm just saying.
It's cold
compared-
down there right
Compared to other years, we're very, very slow this week.
Okay.
So I have noticed that this week.
Any questions?
Curious. It's just curious.
Oh, yeah.
in terms of-
Any questions? Board? Okay, we'll move on. Ryan.
Our newest hire, Colin Carroll, is now off field training, so now he's another staff level up for us. So we're progressively getting back to full staff.
Woohoo!
Whoa.
Paige has got a little bit longer to go.
Yeah, a few more weeks left for her. Hopefully she'll be on her own soon as well.
Okay,
And steady pace.
Good.
Military.
we ran her back through field training
Mhm.
just because she was off
Yeah,
for so long.
She was out for quite a few months. with the
Yeah.
injury, so. But she's doing well. We're chugging
Awesome.
along. That's we can. Nothing else to add outside of that.
Anything, the board? Okay. Let's see. Treasurer.
I don't have anything to add. If anyone has questions.
Sales tax is up.
Yeah, that was a lot of good information. Thank you.
Any other questions for Meg? Right, Megan without the H. Okay, village clerk.
We've been busy training and purging.
You got a lot to
Purging
purge.
on my part, but, I don't have anything else to add. If anybody has any questions.
Sometimes there's beauty in having everything kept,
Yes.
right?
Some
Well,
things.
Some
Yeah.
things.
Some things.
Sometimes.
You don't know why.
Then you get overwhelmed.
Yeah, if you can't remember why you saved
Exactly.
it, maybe it's time to
It's
go.
time to go.
Anything for Sally?
I wanted to ask about Waterworth. Are we almost to where they can spit out all the data we want them to, or?
No, we have
No.
a meeting coming up next week, is that?
Okay.
We are waiting for Tim because we weren't sure.
Oh, okay, all right.
Anything else? Economic development, Lee.
Hi.
Hi,
Um,
can you get up your street right now?
yes, it's pretty narrow.
Is it still only one lane?
Pretty much.
Okay.
You have my report. If you have any questions, I just wanted to highlight in that though, the local waterfront revitalization grant that we got for doing the updated plan. Since the time we applied, some things have changed. The Department of State's lawyers have determined that when looking at an LWRP, a municipality must consider all of the inland waterways that are within its boundaries. So since the town was the applicant, that means we need to include those portions of the Oswegatchie River that are within the town boundary. We reached out to Rensselaer Falls. We did do the step one, back with a number of towns, several years ago now, but so it's done through completing a boundary, and I believe the inventory analysis is also done. So a portion of it's already complete, so that's a good thing. We did reach out to Rensselaer Falls. They have said that they are not interested at this time, so we're only gonna include the portions that are within the town. The good thing is that the boundary that we created includes all of Upper and Lower Lakes, so it comes right up to the Grass River. So essentially, our two waterways are gonna be connected, and we'll be able to get funding to do stuff
Okay.
within that entire boundary, so that's a good thing.
Mhm.
So now that we've heard from Rensselaer Falls, we can move forward and do the request for proposals. Hopefully it won't change our budget too much, but we needed to confirm the scope, obviously, before we put out a request for proposal, so that's understood. We'll have to obviously modify our grant agreement because it's all about the Grass River. But ultimately, I think it will be a good thing, and it will allow us to complete that document that was only partially done several years ago, so. Anyway, it's good, but I did want to bring that to your attention. We're looking at grants, as I indicated. We just got word that our most recent Northern Border Commission reimbursement has been approved, so we should be getting that. That puts us over 75% drawn down, which means we can apply for another one. So again, that's something we're looking at. I did reach out to the state rep. I have not heard back from him yet to see if we can apply for the higher amount for the next piece of the water. Hopefully they're fine tomorrow before we meet, but
I've been trying to get into what I need to get into for Northern Border. And I'm not having much luck, and I've written an email, I've not heard back.
Okay.
So I'll talk to
you need to
you.
keep pushing because we,
Well,
that's how we do our pre-application.
I know
so.
tomorrow and Friday, I hope to be able to. I'm gonna try, keep trying.
Okay.
So,
And Megan reached out about, an opportunity that they're maybe looking at too, that we could support, so, that's kind of where we're at, we're still looking at the comp plan.
Mhm.
Going through another chapter tomorrow, hopefully at our meeting, so.
Okay,
it's moving things along.
sounds good. Anything for ED? Thank you. Okay, where are we here? Code.
Well, I have nothing new to add to my report. Anybody have any questions?
Anybody? Okay, perfect, thank you. Assessor Cindy.
Hi, good evening, everyone. As far as the exemptions processing, I've gotten all the nonprofit and the agricultural exemptions back. There's about a handful of the aged exemptions they have not received. I made phone calls to those property owners last week, and I'm gonna have to make phone calls again by Thursday or Friday of this week to get them in. I don't wanna, if they don't apply, I have to drop the exemption, so I don't wanna have to go that route. The data collection, I picked that up today. I was able to get back out there and working on cleaning up what data's left for the reval project, and also for some permits that, as far as the town's concerned, but the village permits, only about three or four left to value, and they'll be done. And this is that time of year, we crunch time, we try and get everything into the system to run the tentative rolls. I did receive the special franchises from the state, and I also received the telecommunications. Waiting for the railroad billing that didn't come in yet. Talking about the pre-decisional collaboration, and I met with the CRM last week. She came out from Syracuse to our meeting, our assessment meeting at the county, and pretty much ready to wrap up what the new equalization rate is. I should know by the end of this week or in the beginning of next week, and that'll be final on that number. And as far as anything else, the solar projects, I did get in touch with, there's a person out there, his name is Luke Forrester, and he works with the state, and he helps us give us figures to enter onto the solar model. So I was able to get all that wrapped up with him. So I'm not doing anything yet because they're still in limbo right now, what they want to do with the model. The association, the New York State Assessors Association, is fighting with the state to get figures in there that are coming in low, and they're trying to get the figures to come in somewhat higher. So that's not yet set. Hopefully by the middle of March, we should know something. Last year they went to bat and nothing happened, and we're hoping for this year. So we'll see what happens with that. And that's about it. Anybody have any questions?
Okay,
Hmm.
thanks, Cindy.
Okay, you're welcome.
Tim is not here tonight. Couple of things, he didn't do a report. I think some of you know he got injured. So he's been in and out a little bit. There's a couple of things that are going on, a lot of snow.
Yeah.
Not that anybody noticed. I will tell you that they were in last night doing snow removal, hauling.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to see where they were, but I know that they were in doing
Park
that.
Street,
Did they?
yeah.
They'll be in tonight and they'll be in tomorrow night and trying to, I'm sure they'll get a lot of Main Street cleaned up and.
Yeah.
Got a lot of
That's
fire
true.
hydrants that need to be opened up and stuff like
Yeah.
that, so. The fire department's been doing, getting around, trying to open some of that up, so.
Yeah.
My husband does that, the one on our street.
Did a fine job on your driveway too. You kept on top of that.
We live close to the hydrant, so he takes care of that too.
The second source is
Of
very
course it
close
is.
to being completed, second source for water. I know you mentioned it in your report and, they're wrapping some things up. We're hoping that it will be up and running, very soon.
Maybe we should have a cake for that.
We could have a cake for that.
We should definitely have a cake for that.
So those are really the two things, that are going on for Tim.
How's DPW? They doing okay? Hanging in?
Yeah, it's been an extraordinary year. It's like an old
Yeah.
time,
Old
winter,
fashioned.
an old fashioned winter.
Yeah.
We've had some big ones before, but this has been,
Constant,
A
yeah.
lot of repetitive.
Yeah.
they've had equipment breakdowns,
Yeah.
the snow, the sidewalk plow has broken down several times. They put the snow blower on it now and,
Mhm.
so they've had some maintenance issues. They had a truck down, so
Well,
they're doing the best they can.
Mhm.
it's on top of a water break that they had a couple weeks ago.
They had a
so-
water break up on Farmer Street. They got that taken care of in fairly short order.
Yeah,
Um,
but still, it was cold.
Really
Oh, yeah.
bad conditions.
so
Yeah.
It was
nighttime
raw
and
out there,
cold.
so,
Yeah, so
but they're, I think they're hanging in there.
much appreciation to them
Yep.
all.
Absolutely.
So that's all I can pass on right now for Tim, so. And with that being said, I need a motion to accept permanent reports.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Any opposed? Okay, committee reports. I'm sure there's a few there. And I did send an email around with some information about one that will come up from sustainability. So, we just want you up to speed on that. So I don't know who wants to go first, and what you want to go first on, so. Any, meeny,
I
miny,
don't know. We did rec met.
Mhm.
We hadn't met in a long time. We had
Yeah.
a nice long meeting and reviewed,
We sure did.
uh, different rate changes that we're gonna make, ice time, different kind of things, for the coming budget year, just so. Megan can prep for budget season on time, so. That took a long time,
It was a good meeting.
Yeah.
It was very comprehensive. And coming out of one season, going into the next season too, Megan's thinking ahead.
when's the last day of ice?
As of right now. It is. March 23rd, right now, that is the last day. That could move up depending on a, current booking.
Playoffs or something?
No, it's a special tournament that we may host right at the end.
Okay, I just kind of curious.
It just depends if they fill it or not.
Okay. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's mostly what we were talking about,
Yeah.
next year's budget and.
Yep.
Has to happen.
We have a new configuration of the town. So Jim Smith is now on the
Jim's
committee.
fault it went so long.
Get them up to speed.
Hey, listen, I
Couple of
appreciate,
stories.
I appreciate.
Yeah, his
That a
long
lot.
memory.
Mhm. For sure.
Okay. Who's
Yeah.
next?
We can talk about sustainability.
Why not?
So we had, two things I'll say. The first is that today the, person from a consulting firm came and did the energy audits at the pavilion, which was very comprehensive.
Mhm.
Thank you, Megan, for your very comprehensive, tour. And it took 2 hours.
There's 3 different buildings, right?
He said,
it.
I thought he said 7.
Yeah.
Well, because there's, this hot water heater does
Oh,
two
okay.
rooms, this
No,
has
it's
a
all-
heat here,
It's all
It's
tchotchked together.
jury rigged
Started at 1,
like nobody's business there.
everything was added at a certain
And
time.
when you just go through it,
Mhm.
you know, so you see how many little parts there are. And, you know, kudos to Megan for
5
knowing
different,
all of
yeah.
them and all the weird specifics and, you know.
5 different heaters, 4 different
Yeah.
types of boilers.
So,
Awesome.
yeah, so it was very comprehensive. In the end, he did say, you need a whole new building.
Will he write that down for us?
Well, that is.
We need him to write that down.
I'm not sure our $50,000 grant isn't gonna do that.
He threw out his number on what it was gonna cost, and I said, a hockey dehumidifier is $1 million by itself, so you may wanna go up.
He went, anyway, but, and then we went to DPW and, the clubhouse up at the golf course. So he will write his report. It has to go to his supervisor and, you know, I would guess maybe early April we'll get the results. I don't know
Okay,
what the timeline is.
Good.
But, took lots of notes and lots of pictures. So we shall see. But he, you know, they have strict parameters on what the money can be spent on.
Right.
So we're gonna have to see what fits in that box. But he was very, I think, attentive to what within that realm, what we were interested in and what problems we had and how he might be able to help us solve them through this process. I
Okay.
was happy with that. And then the second part is, talking about sustainability, was talking about the McDonald's
Mhm.
and,
Yeah.
and the misunderstanding that people had that part, that the McDonald's lot was gonna get paved. So we've cleared that up. It's not gonna get paved.
When we talk about the McDonald's lot, we're talking about where the old building was.
Was,
Correct.
right.
Okay, because it was some,
There's some
Somehow it got-
confusion and everyone thought we were paving everything. And of course, that's not really good for stormwater problems. They've brainstormed some ideas, which I think we could flesh out and see which ones could work or not work. About what to do that with that lot. Can we get some grant money to do that? I mean, obviously, having a permeable surface is what was best, and grass wouldn't be that, right?
and I don't think that the, building committee has said that, you know, it's gotta be anything specific. I
Okay.
think we have to do something there to hold the soil.
Yeah.
Um,
Grass-
and,
grass will do that.
you know, be it grass or whatever, and we can hydro seed that thing and, you know,
Plus, I mean, we're doing downtown revitalization. Everybody wants it to look better than.
Right.
But,
Who was
yeah.
calling it Stonehenge with the stone blocks? So when you have a nickname for it, it's time to do something. I would say.
Yeah, you know, the paving is just the
existing.
existing lot. I think we have to be extraordinarily careful what we call it,
Right.
because, you know, if you call it a green space or call it a park, you'll never be able to do anything with it again.
We have some
Do
ideas
we have
on
to
that.
call it anything?
Well, that's what we have to be careful of.
You just, I mean, you need to be
You have to
specific about
be,
what it
yeah,
is.
you have to be
So that you
intentional.
can have,
Mhm.
if you wanna build on it or sell it or whatever else,
Sure.
you haven't locked yourself into that.
We'll call it a pop-up.
We'll call it a pop-up or
Pop-up.
something.
So, you know, that's important.
Grassy lot.
Grassy lot. That's what.
In the,
But
Get away with
there's some
lobbying.
ideas out there and we will, nobody is interested in handcuffing the.
well,
village.
and I think that's important, and you know,
Yeah, and it's
somehow
a-
we got down a different track, and,
Well, there was a headline that said
yeah.
about
Yeah.
paving McDonald's.
We
and
won't,
I think-
I'm not sure who to blame that on, but, you know,
I'm not
the
blaming. anybody.
reporters are here, so we'll be careful.
It's not, the McDonald's lot is not getting paid. So
Not being
that,
paved.
Not being paid.
that started this off. So,
So,
anyway,
okay,
anything
and,
you'd like to add? Because Tara's been involved with this. as well.
Yeah, no, just sort of put the resolution that you see in front of you together. Quickly ran it by Kathy as the chair of the Canton Sustainability Committee and it was received well. But kind of the origin of it was from a citizen who was very interested in seeing something. You know, laboring under the misimpression about the paving.
Yeah.
Was very interested. Also, the citizen has a planning background and was very interested in seeing something that would be a pervious surface. If it's impervious, then pervious is the opposite. So a
Yeah.
permeable surface
Yeah.
there.
and I understand
Um,
that,
yeah.
and,
And also the aesthetics.
Yeah, sure.
So at any rate, since this is a joint town village,
Right,
we're gonna talk about it at our, joint meeting
okay,
in April.
and maybe we'll have a little
Which
more
is-
information on
which
some-
was
what
not
we
changed,
Some of
right?
our comments.
Huh?
Did that remain the same day? The 23rd?
It's on, yeah, that's the date it's on, I guess. You're gone.
Yeah.
Well, I'll talk to her about that.
It's fine. I'm just gone.
April
So-
23rd.
April 23rd, I'm done now.
I mean, if April 29th is open for people, that's also in April. So
Yeah.
would still keep to our schedule. Or April 30th, maybe?
No, not April 30th.
We've got April 30th on this.
I'll talk to Mary Ann, see if, different days.
I'm gone from the 18th to the 25th.
Okay, put that next week.
So it will be
Yeah.
coming up at that time.
Okay.
Great. And if it can't be changed,
Yeah,
I'll be there.
I'll talk to her. Can't make all of them.
I know, we've had this conversation before. I just want to remind you.
Yep. Okay. Who's next?
I'll go with Complete Streets. We finally were able to approve, putting up Klaus for an appointment. So he's on the
It's
agenda.
on the agenda.
Mhm.
Yep. We're narrowing in on some potential projects that we'd like to focus on for 2025. The Complete Streets Task Force is narrowing in on projects they'd like to focus on for 2025. And sort of figuring out the process for chasing down some money and working how we can more seamlessly work with, our economic developer, Lee, on that. Very pleased to announce, and thanks to the Communications and Technology Committee and Sally for getting us a Google folder on the drive. It's already been made use of, and some very important documents have gone in there. It's gonna be fantastic as far as exchanging information, but also putting information in there for people that are new to the task force to get their hands on pretty easily, like the method. And then another sort of small project that's been kicking around for quite some time, but we're gonna be able to move forward with a little bit more because of the shared folder, is the drain cover inventory. And sort of figuring out what drain covers are oriented in such a way that it would be a danger to a cyclist. And we'll be speaking more about that with Tim, of course, in the future. But there are plenty of cyclists out there that have been dropping into, our the Canton Bike Group Facebook page, information about where they see drain covers misoriented or oriented in such a way that it would be a problem for a bike tire. So they just pop the nearest house address into Facebook, and then we would be able to kind of pass that information along to Tim or DPW or both, to get those fixed up. It's mostly those round drain covers, so if any of you happen to see them hanging around on the, and if they're oriented so that's parallel with the direction of travel, that's not what we would want,
Cause your tire gets stuck.
because your tire gets stuck,
Makes sense.
no matter,
And would be
no matter who you
distressing
are. Yes, it's very very
As
easy
you
to get stuck in that kind of
to
thing.
land on your head.
So, that's pretty much it at the moment for Complete Streets. We're looking at, like I said, we're narrowing in on the kinds of projects that we're interested in doing. The thing that has come up the most is the Canton maps that are around the various areas that are kind of peeling away and not very visible and not so accurate any longer. And thinking
There's one
about-
right out here.
Yes, yes. And there's one in Bend of the River Park, there's one over at
You
SUNY
can't even read
Canton,
anymore.
so.
You can't even read mine anymore because it sits in the sun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
That's that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Golf.
Golf. So much snow, it's hard to think about golf. Just, waiting on the ads are out for golf superintendent and food concessionaire. And we've got a couple of responses to both and waiting to see what happens.
Okay.
Great. Economic development has met, working on prioritizing grants. and as Lee mentioned, the steering committee is looking at the updated comp plan matrix for a couple of the chapters and trying to identify some goals for achievement in 2025, or at least to focus on. Communications and technology met, working on figuring out the best way to make the reassessment information very visible. And also, we are still trying to figure out how to connect our calendar in some way, shape, or form with the chamber's calendar, so that people would be able to go to our calendar and click and see the events relevant to Canton from the chamber. The chamber's platform and our doesn't really allow for that easily, so we're trying to see if there's some workarounds or if we're gonna have to go to a good old fashioned click here.
Oh,
We have this really nice website that's working really well. The part of the goal was to be able to do this, so we'll keep working on that. Finance committee met, nothing really to report. And then the other thing to mention at our joint meeting, in January, which I guess was really only a couple of weeks ago, we formed a joint comprehensive plan review committee. I just named it that.
good for you.
Yeah, just. We met for 2 hours. We got through one chapter.
But I think we got, we're on a roll.
But we're on a roll. We have a plan. We're gonna meet again. Looking to make some, I don't know if it's recommendations as much as some pronouncements to the joint boards in April.
Good.
Is that everything? Did I miss anything?
I'll mention-
Infrastructure.
Well, you got something to talk about?
Only just to say that we are continuing to, look for grants. Lee mentioned the water, but we're still tracking on the stormwater and some other stuff as well.
Molly mentioned the police committee has interviewed a number of people, potential, people for a hire.
Yeah.
We're not there yet. So, we'll see. To be continued.
To be continued.
Okay.
Anything else?
The Waterfront Advisory Committee has just been updated with the information, same information that you were complete earlier. And waiting to get the drafts of the RFPs together and move forward from there, but otherwise no other actions.
Okay. Lots of
We're a
committees.
busy bunch.
Okay, we'll move on to communications and information. One thing we wanted to mention in there, Anna and I have talked a little bit about it, is I've heard some complaints about, the number of smoke shops that seem to be attracted to Main Street.
Mhm.
I don't know if there's anything we can do about that, but, you've heard.
I have heard, I have heard, and I've heard from people who have heard. So there seems to be a lot of conversation. I think the concerns are about the number, is this why do we need so many on Main Street? As well as concerns about, young people being served, illegal cannabis, et cetera, right? So all of these sorts of concerns into one. And so, yeah, I don't know that there's anything that in fact, I think there isn't anything that we as a village can do, but it is a question. What are our, rights and responsibilities in terms of being able to legislate how many of one particular type of business or what kinds of business or, that sort of thing.
It's kind of like limiting how many pizza shops we can have.
Well, but
Right.
if it's illegal cannabis, I mean, they're breaking some law.
Well, yeah,
And
That's
so
a
what, I mean,
different-
do we have local control over how much a fine is for that? Cause I'd say jack that up.
no, I don't think so.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
what
police-
kind of sticks do we have? I
Well,
mean,
the police, you have the enforcement stick. with the police, and they work together with,
And they
the,
busted them.
the
Right.
Cannabis Control Board.
Mhm.
And they haven't been, would say,
Control Board.
very responsive. They have a lot of other problems in other areas. They've done several things in our community. And there may be some things that, some actions they can take after a certain number of,
Violation.
violations, but. You know, how many shops can open? You know, it's hard to regulate.
Right,
that
but
type
if
of thing.
they're doing something illegal, we can make it not worth their while. to
Well,
do
and
something
that,
illegal,
that
as
may
best
be
we
something
can.
that we can look at a little bit closer.
Yeah.
Again, with the advice for our attorney,
Yeah.
there may be some other action we can take, but we'd have to be careful.
Mhm.
But we're hearing the complaints, and I,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
wanted to just put it out there that, you know, people are watching that and are a little concerned about
As they should,
how
and,
these things
and
are popping up.
on the other side, when we were leaving the comp meeting, the dispensary is so attractive, so nice, so well designed,
Yeah.
that's what.
Well, and
people-
they're doing it, you know,
The right
everything
way.
I
The right
see,
way.
they're doing it the right way.
And they shouldn't be penal, they shouldn't,
So,
I feel for them, because they've done everything the right way, and it's an asset, it looks nice, and these other places,
so
can't even spell Canton correctly, so.
that sign's down.
I know, but that was like brutal.
But we wanted to mention it here and, you know, if Scott has some thoughts, then maybe we'll
I
have a
can look into
conversation.
some things, and talk to, Nikon.
Okay,
Yeah,
See
yeah.
if they have some thoughts.
I would appreciate.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Whatever big stick we can use.
that. Okay.
Want to go out and protest in front of them?
Moving on, old business, 19 minor, I believe there was an article about, National Grid. There was an award from National Grid that they have, the developer applied for, okay. What, $300,000?
Something like that,
Award.
yeah.
So we're, at this point, we're just waiting for New York Forward to, you know, tell us what they're gonna award money to.
Yeah.
We don't know. I've talked to, one of the co-chairs, she doesn't know. They give no hints.
Hopefully we'll know before we read about it in.
Yes,
news,
yes.
Like some other
One,
things.
one hopes.
But don't
You never know.
hold their breath.
That's what I have on that.
Okay,
So we're still in a holding pattern, but.
still waiting.
The next item is, the report on the sewer project by Barton LaJudas. That was put in the drive. I don't know if you have any questions about it, but they are making good progress. We think that the funding will be coming along, what was the last we got on funding?
I thought the last one we got was February.
Yeah.
That they, at their
The
meeting, they were
meeting
gonna
is in
consider it,
February.
yes, their meeting is like now, like yesterday. or
And then when
today.
the,
16th, I think.
when the money
Yeah.
comes out, then that's when our bands will be paid off.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they're in the design process, so,
Right, they said 6 weeks, so if it
yeah.
hits the board, then.
So they're looking to go to bid here, I think, in, late spring maybe,
Mhm.
so. And then along with the report comes the, spreadsheet that they, give us on the project budget. So you can see what's been spent. I don't have anything else to add to that. I don't know. Anna, do you?
I don't
Okay.
know.
Well, Tim's not here. I know he has contact with them
Yeah,
regularly, so. I'm not exactly sure where they're at right now, but that's what I have.
same.
Okay, moving on to, new business. Need a motion to authorize payment of vouchers and transfer funds.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Pick one. Next item is to appoint Klaus Prom to the Complete Streets Task Force.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Anyone opposed? The next item is the budget calendar. Sally and staff went through what we have for possible meeting days. Early March, the department heads will meet with the finance committee. That'll be something I have to work out with Anna and myself and office staff. On the 19th, there'll be a tentative budget presented to the board. And then we're proposing special meetings, April 1st, April 8th. April 16th, then would be the preliminary budget presented with a public hearing. And then, if needed, the April 24th would be a special meeting work session.
So I can make all these other dates work. I'm still gonna be gone.
When you,
On the 24th, the
24th,
24th is the day after the 23rd, which is the joint meeting, so
Okay.
I'm
And,
gonna be there.
and on that day, I could not make it before 6:30. Maybe
24th?
6, maybe 6.
on the 24th?
Yeah.
Well, I'm willing to change it to 6:30 if, you know, that.
6:30 would not have me
Breaking the law.
flying down the back roads. 5:30, only on that one. I can do it.
I just gotta work at 5, but that's fine. I can make 5:30 work.
And then on the April 30th. Would be the final review and vote. That would be at 8 o'clock in the morning, like normally what we do. And
It's a
then there's a
Wednesday.
reminder that by May 1st, this has to be adopted. So Sally and the staff want to make sure that we're all good here.
With that one time change, I'm good.
And with that one date,
Yeah,
I'm good. I'll put all the other ones.
We tried to coordinate both schedules. I looked up both the state schedule and the Saloon.
Oh, well, that's nice of you. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate
Yeah.
that. I'm on the Canton school schedule. Is what it's not St. Lawrence, so. But I've only got 2 more years of that, so here we go.
Enjoy it while you can.
Right?
okay. Last item I have. If
Nice
we're done with that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to briefly address an issue that gained some attention on Facebook. When the project for the veterans flags was put on hold for this summer. Town supervisor and I have been working with the VFW and Dorothy Woods was one of the prime movers and shakers in this to establish a Veterans Manor program. It started with a small group in the VFW, at the VFW. We had, several meetings. Now, you've all seen the flags that we're talking about.
They're great.
So, and we all thought it was a good idea. So there was a small committee that was formed at the VFW to establish ground rules for the project. Somebody at VFW was supposed to talk to National Grid to make sure they understood their requirements. They talk about the design of the flags, they're supposed to establish a preferred placement for the flags. Decide who would handle the funds. How orders would be placed, and then our DPW would be asked to install the hard-wearing flags. So the town clerk agreed to handle the money, create a separate account, handle the money and the applications. We were informed that somebody from the VFW had talked to someone with National Grid, that said there wouldn't be any problems, just put them up and no one will say anything.
Okey-dokey. Can't imagine what went wrong there.
Then I also attended a meeting at the Rotary Club with Dorothy and where she pitched the program. At that point, about a week and a half prior to the ending date, they had less than 40 applications, which was very manageable. By the time they were done, they had close to 100. So that was pretty much an overwhelming number, and as a result, we started asking some questions, some hard questions. And Mary Ann and I both decided we had to slow things down a little bit. Really, it started to become unmanageable. The other thing that happened was that we have a new municipal contact with National Grid. And I put the question to her. There's also a new customer service contact, so I approached them about the projects, and it turned out we had to have a signed agreement with National Grid.
That makes.
For
sense.
making
Not a surprise.
attachments to their poles. We had to provide insurance information, whether it was a binder or an also insured type of thing. And we had to provide a list of the poles we wanted to use, because then they were gonna have to inspect to make sure that that was appropriate from their perspective.
Sure.
Now we need over 100 poles identified.
So, and then, you know, the union had some questions, some safety concerns that we need to address. So my last communications with Dorothy, you know, we're at the point where we believe that, the numbers are gonna have to be limited. I talked to Ogdensburg. You don't have to write all this down. I'll give it to you. I can print it off. Cause I wrote it. You're scribbling right along. You don't have to do that.
Nice handwriting too.
You can take a breath.
Yeah.
So my last communications with them and with Mary Ann was that we would expect that the numbers will probably have to be limited, and that she would have to develop a process for how they were going to do it. Ogdensburg, when I talked to them, they have a specific number they allow at specific locations and specific poles. We had thought that the committee was going to prioritize what streets they wanted to use. That really didn't happen, so I guess I've decided that I'll do that along with the village superintendent. Once we have an agreement with the union. As I said, there were some couple of safety things that were brought up that we will address. I don't think it'll be a problem. But, you know, we have to provide insurance coverage and sign a National Grid contract and, you know, have them inspect poles. But the only other thing that I'll bring up is because it's likely to be a smaller number of flags, and locations would be reused. I'm gonna talk to the board during our budget time to see if we would be willing to fund the attachments that will be put up on the poles and then stay. So that's one thing that I'm willing to do in the range of 35 or so attachments, and it's not a ton of money, so we'll figure out a way to fund that.
The flags are not cheap.
No, they were originally talking a couple $100. They were actually about $185, but that included hardware and the flag. It would be less if we can provide the hardware. So what I would like to do is put the hardware up, and always use the same location,
Right,
And just rotate.
and
and
just
then
have,
rotate them every,
right,
so.
and the
you know,
VFW would prioritize and
Yep.
manage what flags
Who
and the
goes first,
rotation and
who
everything.
goes first,
And
like that.
the best thing I think out of this whole thing is that there are 100 applications. That's.
Oh,
really-
it was overwhelming. I
That's
think they
very
were
cool.
surprised.
Yeah,
And,
that's
you know, I felt bad that, you know, we had to say, hey, time out here. We need
Sure.
to,
Pause.
you know, I started asking some questions, and I think we're at the point where we had to call time.
Well, and to.
There's a
install
lot of
process.
interest. There's a lot of interest.
And that's heartwarming. I think that that's really good.
And I'm not opposed, but I think we gotta do it right.
That's right.
No, processes,
Mhm.
I'm a process kid.
I was gonna say,
I like process.
feels you.
That's what I have about that. I know we took a little bit of grief on Facebook. And I don't get on Facebook and respond to things, but do you have any questions?
No, I think that's all you can do.
No,
is
and I
make
appreciate
it-
the fact that they'll think about rotating. And I think that, you know, for all the applications, if we have a rotational process, then.
Yeah.
You know, it's funding them and.
The
making sure
idea
they
was
get
that
up.
they would go up by Memorial Day.
Mhm.
It
Yeah,
comes
that'd be
down on,
great.
you know, after Veterans Day was the plan. And, you know, that would
So they
still be
wouldn't
the
be up
plan.
all year, they just.
No, they take an awful beating during the winter.
Mhm.
I was, yeah, whatever, especially the winter like
Yeah.
we just had.
So, we'll spend some time,
Okay.
Tim and I, once we get the union straightened around. There's a couple of safety concerns we have, and it has to do with headspace and Bauer.
Sure,
Fair.
So
that makes sense.
we don't want anybody hurt.
Yeah.
I worked in the
All the
industry for
stuff we
30
gotta
some
think
years.
about,
That's
so
good.
it's good.
You know, I know what we had to do.
What's the insurance for? That-
Well,
Is
we
it for
have to,
that?
well,
Or-
National Grid wants to know that they're also insured.
That our guys who are putting them up.
Yeah, well,
Got it.
yeah, but they're also listed as and also insured. It's much like fire department,
Yeah.
money comes from the town, they
Mhm.
have to be listed as also insured.
Okay.
So,
I was just kidding.
I don't think it'll cost us any more money, I just think it's
No,
It's a
yeah,
line,
part of our
if their
liability.
attorney says you need to have this in
Yeah.
there.
just
Um,
wondering.
I will forward what I have to sign to Scott for him to look at, but it's pretty much a standard National Grid contract.
I bet.
You have to,
Well, it's not like they haven't done it. So,
no, and they're more than happy to participate in this. They
Mhm.
do it all over the place,
but
but
we
it's,
can't just kind
you
of.
just can't pop them up and expect that nobody's gonna say anything. So if you don't have any more questions.
We're good.
No, thanks
okay.
for laying that out.
Public comment. Does anybody have any public comment? Going once? Public comment, going twice? Public comment going 3 times. Okay. I need a motion to go into executive session. I have a couple of short items for you. One's dealing with transfer of property and the other one's potential purchase of property.
So moved.
And second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thanks for coming, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
You can stay for a few minutes.
Good night.
Good night. Good night, Lee.
Thanks, Lee.
Lee, did you see my email?